Hey guys, it is Clay at CPAP My Way, cpapmyway.com. Today I am here for another new mask intro with you. And this one is from Fisher & Paykel, which you'll probably reflect back to, maybe a month or two ago, however long it was, where I introduced another pillow mask from Fisher & Paykel, the Solo Nasal Pillow Mask, which I was impressed with and was a really cool mask. Lo and behold, a few months later, they release another nasal pillow mask, which kind of blew my mind. But this one is more of a different gear. It's going to be unique compared to the Solo. I think the Solo has some really awesome attributes. This one has some very unique attributes of its own. So in this video, I'm going to go over all that you need to know about sizing, fitting, whether this one will work for you. We're going to try it on with a little bit of pressure here so you can see what it sounds like. And then of course, as always, I'm going to give you my feedback, pros and cons at the end, so you can try to decide whether or not this thing is good for you. This thing has some really cool benefits, and it's got a couple of drawbacks I definitely want you to stay tuned for, because they may be something that are a game changer for you. If you like the information, we really appreciate the thumbs up. Subscribe for more content like this, and comment with any feedback you have, especially if you've used this mask. We really want to hear from you, and I know everybody else out there does too. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We'll go over this thing in detail. All right, so right off the rip, you'll see that this Nova Micro is extremely small, and it's going to look very similar to another mask that's extremely popular. I'll break it to the end, the mask that I think they're trying to compete with on this one. But it is available as a fit pack. This particular mask bag I've got here is the small, medium, and large fit pack. This is a medium cushion. If you look on the wing of it over here, you'll notice there's a little M. Obviously, for a small, you'd see an S, or a large, you'd see an L. The medium fit me pretty well. They say if it's leaking, to go up a size. It tends on these kind of masks to want to leak around the sides there, and so if you get that, or even out the front a little bit, go up a size. I have heard some contrasting opinion to that, in that it fits some people better when they went down a size. So that's the nice thing about a fit pack. As easy as this is to swap out, you could try multiple sizes just to see not only which one fits you best, but which one's more comfortable. There is no one size fits all for everybody, for sure. As far as the design of the mask, it is the same style as most nasal pillow masks that are out there. Split back of the headgear, right? So you'll see that the blue portion of the strap goes to the back of your head, the gray portion goes up on top of your head. Both of these straps are extremely elastic on the back of the head and at the top of the head. The side straps here are pretty firm, so they're not going to give a whole lot. Where you're going to get your conforming fit is going to be on these straps here at the top and on the back of the head. You'll also notice the adjustments on this headgear come from the top down as opposed to from the bottom up. I'll go over why that may or may not be a good thing for you, and the pros and cons at the end of the video. The attachment of the headgear is pretty interesting as well. You'll see it kind of goes in a little bit of a notch there, and to get it off, you kind of pull, flip it under, and it comes right off. And then to put it on is the same way, right? You just hook it in the end there. You can see where it hooks on, and then just pull it around, snap it into place. Now, as far as the cushion or the pillow, whatever you want to call it here, as I said, this one's a medium. Taking this on and off is pretty darn simple. There are no clips or snaps or anything you got to line up. All you got to do is grab this little top flap right there, right? Peel it up and over, and the cushion comes off. And you will do the reverse to put the cushion back on there. I think the wide part at the bottom is the easiest place to start that, right? So you got the wide portion of your cushion, the wide portion of the frame there. Just slip that under, just like that. It wants to rotate, so you kind of have to hold it firm there, but just slip that under and then pull that little top wing right back over, and you are back in business. So really simple. I think some people are going to like that you don't have to line up clips and get things just right to snap into place. All you do is fit it on there and stretch it over. You'll also notice that there are two swivels, right? You got the swivel up top, which is very free moving. Swivel at the bottom, that's going to give you plenty of freedom of movement back side to side. And then the last thing I'll point out here on the mask itself is the exhalation ports. And when I try that on, I'm going to try to give you an idea of where you're feeling that, because I felt like that was pretty nice. I want you to see that there's one line, hopefully this is focusing okay, there's one line of holes there, and then on either side it doubles up the line of holes. And I think that's, I felt that on the exhalation, and it was something unique to me, and I'll point it out and we'll discuss it further in my pros and cons at the end. Also, this mask is extremely lightweight. I don't know how much it weighs, but it is like literally nothing. The other thing I just want to show you real quick is that this is not a quick disconnect. A lot of those masks have a little quick disconnect here. You've probably heard me in previous videos saying that I think they're worthless. They are. Most people with a nasal pillow mask like this are just going to refit. You know, you're going to take the mask off, get up, do what you need to do, drink a glass of water, go to the restroom, come back and put the mask back on, because it takes 2 seconds to fit it. So I don't think that quick disconnects are very relevant in situations where you've got such a simple mask as this. All right, so what I want to do here is show you how I would fit this mask, and we'll run it with a little bit of pressure here and you'll get an idea of what it sounds like. All right, so first thing you want to do is get a hold of the blue strap. Remember I said the blue strap goes to the back of the head, gray strap goes to the top of the head. And with these masks, I recommend pulling the headgear right in front so that you're kind of exposing the nasal pillow there and it's ready to rock and roll. What you'll do is just fit that right into the nose. I always give it a little wiggle so that it goes into my nostrils. And then I grab that blue strap, pull it straight over the back of the head. And your top strap should kind of rest right up top. Blue strap to the back of the head. Okay? And then as I said, the adjustments on this mask are no longer, well, I won't say no longer. Some masks are up top, but a lot of them adjust from the bottom up. On this one, you'll grab the top, right, each side there, and pull down, okay? And that is a little bit different. There are a couple out there that do that, but there's a unique bit about that I'll point out later on. Okay, and once you do that, I always kind of give it a little bit of a flare on those wings there just to make sure it's set in my nostrils, okay? Now we'll fire this up. That's where I want to point out to you a little bit about the exhalation. So as far as what's going on in front of my face right now, I don't feel any exhalation until I get right about there, right? So no draft until right about there. And the draft is kind of coming up and out, away from me, but to the sides. And you know how I pointed out the second row of holes? There's a decent bit of exhalation that kind of comes out to the front here, but it seems like most of it is diffused out and away at an angle, which I felt like was pretty unique. I feel it right about there. Hopefully you can see what angle that is coming out, right? And very little in front. I feel like if you're laying on your side, face pointed at your bed partner, this is going to be a really good mask because it's not going to blast any draft at all towards your bed partner. It's very comfortable. It has a little bit of that inflation to it, not nearly as much as like the Solo, but it has, hopefully you can see there, it rides on the nose pretty good. And you know, I'm moving it all around, and at 8 centimeters with very loose fitting, you know, it is sealed really well, no leaks at all. All right, so the Nova Micro here. Let me tell you what I think about it. There's some things that I find extremely positive about it, and there's a couple of things that I'm definitely going to say are drawbacks that you're going to want to consider if you're in certain categories of user here. First and foremost, it is extremely small. You saw it on my nose. There's just nothing there. It reminds me of the #1 favorite nasal pillow mask over like the last decade, I swear, and that is the ResMed AirFit P10. So I think Fisher & Paykel's really making an effort to go after that AirFit P10 business. This is a different fit, obviously. The P10 is just small little nasal buds that just rest purely on the nostrils. This has a little bit more of a hybrid design, so you get kind of a half cradle, half pillow, which is similar to the way Fisher & Paykel makes their masks. This one just is a lot smaller than the Brevita or the Solo, so there's less on your nose. So as a competitor of the P10, I think it's right up there with it. I think that a lot of people that have had issues maybe with all of the pressure being on the nostril, you know, the nair of the nose, I think they call that. This might be a good option because it's going to spread that out a little bit. If you get this mask and you dislike the way it touches down below the nose, especially if like it's rubbing up against your kind of upper lip between the nose there, whatever you call that part of your face, then the P10 would probably be a better option for you because there's no touch there at all, really. Let's talk about the headgear a little bit. My opinion on the headgear. This is a bit unique, especially for any of the major brands, you know, Fisher, ResMed, or Respironics, that top-down adjustment and 2 elastic head straps, you know. So a couple things about that. I think these eventually will wear out like any elastic does, and there is no adjustment. So once this elasticity wears out, you will be able to adjust it from here, but eventually it's going to loosen up on the top of your head, and it's probably going to have a different fit, in my opinion. It does have the adjustments, which is nice, so as they start to stretch out, you'll be able to tighten it up a little bit, but I think it will probably get a little bit annoying once those things wear out. It seems to be made very well, so I doubt that it's going to wear out quickly, but it is something to consider. The other thing is where the adjustments are here, right? So these adjustments are going to be more up near your temple. So you probably saw it, and hopefully I can maybe take a screenshot and flash back to how it fit on my face. But most of the time when you have a bottom-up adjustment, you end up with the adjustment being kind of right up here on the cheekbone, right? So somewhere right in here around the eye a lot of times, you know? And people hate that, especially if you've got a smaller head or something where it wants to creep up towards your eyes. The bulk of the headgear, which is where the Velcro attaches, gets up around the eye or around the cheekbone where, you know, you're going to put a lot more pressure on it. I think having this up a little bit higher, you know, up towards your temple where you've got a little bit of a divot in your head there, may actually be a little bit better of an idea. I'll be interested to hear what your feedback is out there on usage. And the final thing I want to point out about the headgear that is just something you're going to want to consider is that taking the headgear on and off. I think, you know, as far as maintenance goes, I'll discuss it in a second, but you're probably not going to take the headgear off all that often, and I would discourage you from doing it too often on this mask, because I think the more you pull on this thing, the more there's a chance you're going to wear it out. Maybe not, you know, we've only been doing this for a little while, and we've put it on 30 or 40 customers so far. And I've been using it off and on here for, you know, I guess a couple of weeks. So it hasn't stretched at all for me messing around with it or washing it or dealing with it, but it is different. There's no snaps, no anything. You're just pulling it off of two little hooks there, right? So hook on the front, hook on the back. And the way you do it is you hook it on the front first and then pull it around the back and snap it on there. So hopefully you can see that. Because of the way you're doing that, I think eventually you're going to wear that out. Because of the way the headgear fits, you know, it'll always pull tight, but I think eventually you're probably going to wear that hole out a little bit, and you're going to have to replace the headgear. So I would recommend when it's maintenance time to just leave the headgear and the frame attached and do your maintenance with it all attached. All right, as far as the cushion goes, I think that's another thing that we want to point out here, that the cushion, you could see that as simple, or you could see that as not useful enough, I guess. I don't know. I can't decide, quite frankly. I think it is really nice that it just slips in and out there, you know. As long as you get it right, it really just folds right into place. But a lot of people like that little snap in, snap out, so you know it's on there. So I'm not going to say that's a pro or a con. I actually kind of like it, but I could see how people might, you know, as that wears out, it probably is going to be a little bit more difficult to keep in place, you know, as the silicone gets a bit stretchier. And really, when it comes down to maintenance, I was saving that to the end here. That is all there is to it, right? You got to do the cushion once a week. You got to do the frame and the headgear. I'm sorry. You got to do the cushion daily. You got to do the frame and the headgear once a week. So really, all you got to do is peel this off daily, wash it real quickly, let it air dry, and then weekly take the whole kit and caboodle, soap and water, let it soak just for a short period of time, rinse it out real good, and it's all good to go. So as far as my overall pros, this thing is extremely small, extremely light, and it seals really, really well. I think it disperses really well across the nose. There's not too much pressure on the nostrils, not too much pressure on the surroundings. It's extremely easy to fit and adjust, but so are all nasal pillow masks, to be honest, on that front. It's also extremely quiet and well diffused, so you're not going to feel anything coming out. Your bed partner's not going to feel anything coming out, and as you guys heard, it's really, really quiet. Fisher & Paykel didn't miss on that at all. Very quiet, very well diffused. It swivels really, really well, so you're going to get lots of freedom of movement. I don't think that's unique to this mask, but it's definitely not lacking in that quality. And then I think you're probably going to have picked up on it already, but a couple of the drawbacks are going to be, I think the headgear may be something you replace a little more often than some of the higher end headgear. It's not a super expensive headgear, so I don't think that's going to be a big issue because it is simple. It fits really, really well. So I think the simplicity and the design of it supersedes the potential for having to change it out a little bit more often. This headgear attachment, I'm going to say, could be a potential issue for people with dexterity issues. You know, I obviously have no issue with it at all. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with it. I think it's going to be a good long-term mask for Fisher & Paykel. I think it probably will compete very well with the AirFit P10. And I can tell you just from talking with them, that seems to be their intention on this. It's small, it's compact on the face, it's very easy for people to fit, and I think this is probably going to be a great long-term mask. Hopefully a decade from now, we're still featuring it on the website and people are still liking it. If you do want to order this mask, we've got a link to it in the description. Might even be able to put a coupon code in there for you, so check that out below. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the content, subscribe for more content, And please comment if you've got any experience with this or questions about it, and then maybe things that I missed over. And as always, I really appreciate